Good people, want y'all to know it's Wednesday. I also want y'all to know it's time for Eagles Elite. I also want y'all to know we in the building. All right. We getting back to training camp. We at day 10. We'll talk about a little bit of what's been happening in the news for the Philadelphia Eagles on and off the field. We got two regular games to talk about. We're at that point where the games weren't looking good. Things went downhill, but we're gonna talk about them, right? And then we give a little thoughts on the 100 top 100. So without further ado, let me get my man on here, my guy Wyatt. What up, Wyatt?
What's going on, cool? What's going on, Eagles fam? Another day closer to the season. Seems like training camp's going off without a hitch. They had the open public practice at the link. Everything's looking good as of right now. I mean, we got some reports that are coming out today, which is a lot of stuff we already knew, which I'm sure we'll get to. But yeah, I'm super excited, man. One step closer.
Yes, sir. So we about to hit y'all with the intro real quick, and we getting into it.
The kick is away, and the kick is it's gone! And the Eagles win!
It's hard to come to South Philadelphia and leave here with the win. You just don't come to Philadelphia and leave here with the win.
Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you. Let the celebration begin.
All right, so we back. Got a couple of comments here for y'all, and then we're gonna dig into the extended news. So my man Benny says in Philly we're always game day ready. What up, Benny?
Yes, sir. Shout out,
That's
Ben.
it. Snowman says football season, baby. Hashtag fly Eagles fly. What up, Snowman?
Snowman.
And Benny says I was at the open practice. It was awesome. Lucky you, Benny.
Saw a lot of the videos that were coming out. It looked like a good time. Tons of people showed up.
Yeah, when you live in the city, man, you do get that luxury. That's what's up, though. But you never know. One of these years, I'm gonna be there for this stuff. And when I am, hey, just know it will be videos. Yeah. Also, we got my man, the playmaker, in the building. My co-host, Monday Nights, Monarchs of Wrestling, checking us out. He says, Eagles Elite Time, hashtag fly Eagles fly. Yes, sir. And on this episode, of course, after we get through some of our early stuff, we're going to be talking about that top 100 list. Um, just from the perspective, everybody know what it is, just from the perspective how we feel from, each little group of 10. We think anybody should be lower, higher, that type of thing. Just giving y'all a little bit of how we feeling about the information that was disseminated. So, Wyatt, we always kick things off, man. Regular season, postseason, off season, preseason, news and notes. So Eagles updates, man. What we got this week?
Yes, sir. We got some. We waived some players, ended up actually picking up a couple players as well. Starting with the earliest, since the beginning of the week, it's been a week since we last talked to everybody. We put a waived on the injured list tight end McAllen Castles. He got hurt during a live period during practice at the link, so he's gone as of right now. We actually ended up signing another linebacker, Shaquille Quarterman, who apparently he's really, really decent on special teams. Most likely he's going to be used there, and unless something happens with the linebacking core that we already have. And we also ended up claiming tight end Armani Rogers off the waivers, and we waived wide receiver Shaq Davis as well. And Armani Rogers is a tight end. He played for the Commanders a little while. He was a QB, I believe, and then he converted to a tight end. So it looks like we're trying to figure out the tight end, like the depth as far as that goes, which is something I know you've talked about on the show. We've desperately need at this point.
Hey, there's two things that we know we truly need, and that's somebody in that backfield. We may not agree on who should be back there as far as doing it, but we need somebody big back there that can take a ball and fall and get a couple of yards. And we need depth at the tight end position. I think a lot of other places I feel comfortable, and I feel like Azuma's a good guy to have on the roster. Calcaterra, he does well in practice and low contact situations. He's another guy. If he can stay healthy, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I don't see like, oh, Calcaterra is a guy that can't play in this league, but can he be healthy and keep his mind literally right? That's my question with him. You know what I'm saying? Then when we we get into some of the other things, of course, we're gonna talk about the top 100 later. We talked about the 5 players that we have on the list already. Of course, we didn't have anyone in the top 10. Wasn't surprised by that.
No.
We had last year. We're lucky to have anybody in the top 20. And I mean, we got the first depth chart.
Yeah, true. First official depth chart. Out of these, what was it, 10 practices? You said 10 or 12 practices already.
Well, I think it's been 10, maybe 12. I got a lot going on, y'all, the last couple of days, so they kind of run together. But we are in. How about this? I know for sure we're in the double digits.
Yeah.
I feel comfortable.
Think of it.
Yes. So, Benny says, that's why it's hard for me to leave Philly. I just can't walk away from my city and my team.
I don't blame you.
Yes, my main concern is on defense, LBs and safety. Philly says, I'm so excited to watch our Birds Friday night.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's right. The first preseason game is Friday night. Don't expect any major action from your starters. You may see them for a series or two possibly, but don't expect any major action. But it'll be a good chance to see a lot of the guys that are fighting for starting jobs, maybe with the second team, guys who are fighting to make the team.
Yeah, I know Sirianni said he wasn't too sure about what they were going to do. It was, just because they don't even know what the weather's going to look like at that point in time. Vic Fangio kind of talked about how he wants to get some of the reps for the first team and everything, get them out there, getting them playing, because possibly not going to have them out there through the second or third preseason game.
Yeah, and then the third game is just really non-existent at this point. We've gotten to the point where the NFL has just gotten real wild on non-usage of our starters in the preseason as a whole. And then you're looking at the first couple of regular season games and you're having to treat it like the preseason. And you're like, bro, that's what the preseason is supposed to be for. But hey, what can you do about it, right?
Yeah, I feel like the third game now is just pretty much like evaluation for who's going to be on the practice squad, or who may just be like the end of the roster type fill, or just kind of having these guys showcase what they can do for other teams if they are made free agents, or just put out there, just kind of showcase their talents, show what they got. That way they may have an opportunity on another team if they're not able to get it here.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I'm with you. That's all. The third game has basically become the fourth game.
Yeah.
The second game has basically been eliminated. The third game is the third game, and then the first game is the first game. It basically took out the second game, which is the game where you could possibly see starters for maybe like a quarter. They just don't do that anymore. So Benny said earlier, his main concern is LBs and safety. Now we know that my co-host Wyatt, right over here, has been scarred by the safety play.
we talked about this. Yeah.
Safety and linebacker play, specifically linebackers, but a little bit about the safeties too, right? So he's with you, Benny. I'll say this. I feel comfortable that what we have at linebacker is going to work. I feel comfortable with that, right? I think it's a good group of guys for this year. Now, the question becomes what happens after this year, because a lot of these guys are on one-year deals. If they don't resign, then we've got to look at couple of guys that we may not be as confident about himself. Like Jalen Hunt, he may be a guy that we try to plug in one of those. Nakobe Dean, if he can stay healthy this year, I think he'll be a big part whether he starts or not. But you have to really look at it, Jeremiah Trotter Jr., this guy's going to get some experience. So these are guys that are going to get an opportunity to show what they can do, at least in some fashion this year. So for this year, I'm comfortable with the group. But, as we always talk about, we do, and you talked about a couple of weeks ago, we talked about that safety group and everything in the linebacker group, that whole kind of middle area that was donut last year. We've got some one-year fixes, theoretically.
Yeah.
Now, if those guys decide to resign, it could be helpful if they play well, but that's also going to hit the salary cap. We've got to remember, we do have money, but that does carry over. But there's going to be some difficult things that we're going to have to do in the next couple of years. Don't forget, there's two guys who in about 2 years, we're going to have to bust the bank open. And that's going to be Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter right after each other. So you want to kind of be rolling that money over because, we expect the cap to go up, but we don't even know what the numbers for defensive tackles and ends are going to be by then.
Yeah.
We don't even know, man. So you got to kind of pre-plan. And I think Howie does, of all the things that we can argue about with Howie, of all the reasons why you could say Howie can't come to the picnic, or if he does, he has to pick up his plate. All those things, right? Maybe he doesn't get his can Faygo or his can orange soda, grape soda. Maybe he doesn't get that, right? But what we can say is the one thing that you would say you would let Howie in the cookout to hang for is managing the cap. I mean, you look at where we were at, 3-4 years ago? We had to eat all that money for Carson Wentz. But then after that, boom, we was right back smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And that takes a guy that has a talent for that. In this show in the past, I've given him a lot of grief, but I have to give him his flowers for managing the cap. That is one thing that Howie does do, no matter how good or bad we're playing, relatively very well. So I got to give him his props for that. If I'm a dog him all the time, then he does something well, I have to give him his props. So
yeah, and he also knows exactly when to make these moves as well, as far as signing these players. Like he did, I mean, as much as it didn't work out, he signed Carson Wentz when he needed to, like before everybody else got their payday. He did the same thing with Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. He's locking all these core pieces down before everybody else. Because look at these other contracts that have come out. Even like Jordan Love is one of the highest paid quarterbacks as of right now. I mean, if you look at Jordan Love or like Tua, who else got paid over this offseason? Look at their numbers year by year compared to Jalen Hurts, and it's astounding of the kind of the cap wizardry that Howie is pulling off here. It's amazing, and I understand that they're pushing a lot of this to like back years, but that's where you end up, making an extension to push it back a little bit more, hoping that these guys stay long term, hopefully for the rest of their careers.
Yeah, exactly. So to just kind of go over where we're at right now. So, of course, wide receiver 1, we're just going to go over the starters, right? So, wide receiver, AJ Brown, wide receiver 1, we would say. Left tackle, of course, Jordan Mailata. Left guard, Landon Dickerson. Center, Cam Jurgens. One thing of note, Matt Hennessy is listed as the backup center on this first depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
All right. At right guard, Tyler Steen, with Mekhi Becton as his backup. What we assume to be a battle there. Lane Johnson is right tackle. Tight end, Dallas Goedert. Calcaterra is the number 2 on this depth chart. Devontae Smith is wide receiver 2. Paris Campbell's wide receiver 3. Saquon Barkley, then Kenneth Gainwell, of course, running back. Quarterback, Jalen Hurts, then Kenny Pickett. Not a lot of difference in what we expected to see in this and the actual what we've been seeing this offseason. Any thoughts on the offense, Wyatt?
I mean, that's a lot of what we really expected. I mean, for those who have been paying attention to training camp, or even if you haven't, it does seem like you mentioned the Tyler Steen and Mekhi Becton have been kind of fighting for that right guard spot. Now, Steen was out with an injury for a while. Maybe that's why Mekhi Becton's getting a lot more reps. Maybe he wasn't pressing him during those times whenever he was able to get more reps there. And what's interesting is specifically is the wide receiver 3 spot, because I mean they do have Paris Campbell here, but man, Johnny Wilson, it seems like, has been making a name for himself throughout training camp. And I know it is training camp, but he's been impressing a lot of people, including A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And we haven't really been hearing much at all about Anaya Smith, who we really thought was going to be in competition for that wide receiver 3 spot. But it seems like Johnny Smith, just like with his versatility and his speed and how tall he is and his length, seems like he's able to and they have him backing up, I believe, A.J. Brown as like the number 1 spot.
And that's
so
actually, I think, a good play for him.
Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, absolutely.
AJ's going to have to come out some plays. He can't play every play. And if you can put him in specific situations that play to his strengths, give him a little bit of time, they may rob, 100, 200 yards from A.J. Brown, maybe a touchdown or 2. It will make the team better if he can continue to impress.
Yeah. Like they said that they've been utilizing him in the red zone a lot, like because he's able to go up there and grab. Maybe Hurts is able to lob it up a little higher. He's able to go up and get it. So I mean, I think that's going to work well. Maybe they can incorporate him into some few packages like throughout the season or whatnot. But if he keeps showing up and showing out, there could be a battle for that wide receiver 3 spot.
I'll say this: he probably should be a battle, but just be looking at what we've done in the past. We really like to put a speedster at that number 3 position.
Yeah.
Because, we always talk about taking the top off. Now, I will say Kellen Moore is different. Kellen Moore may be fine with if he plays better than Paris Campbell in camp, moving him up. Now, I will say I have seen some reports and I saw some videos and things. Paris Campbell's been getting some good work and looking pretty good in training camp as well. But Johnny Wilson is young. He's a draft pick. He's a guy that can be developed. You don't have to pay him, for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So you never know. There's always questions, especially when you have a new OC. We know what Nick Sirianni would like to do, but Nick Sirianni is not the OC. So we don't essentially have to do what he wants to do. But it makes sense to do a lot, maybe, of what he wants just to keep him happy as far as, certain things.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of it is kind of what we expected. I mean, it sucks seeing Kenny Gainwell at that RB2 spot, but you never know. That could change. They did say other guy, Will Shipley, is doing pretty decent. He has been getting better throughout training camp. He kind of started off rocky through like OTAs and stuff. But he has been getting better, they've been saying. So who knows? We'll see what happens. You know how much everybody likes Kenny Gainwell in that room for some reason.
Yeah, I heard him talking about Shipley's legs, like he's just got big, powerful legs.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe that can help. We'll see. On defense, we've got Bryce Huff, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. I'm trying to make it one person. Milton Williams, right? We've got Patrick. Let's see. Sorry, my screen flipped out here for a second. Josh Sweat, Patrick Johnson. Patrick Johnson is basically like the 4th edge.
Mm-hmm.
Devin White and Nakobe Dean are kind of even for one linebacker spot. And then Zach Bond and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. are apparently even for the other linebacker spot. Cornerback, he got big plays. Isaiah Rodgers and Keely Ringo are even for the other one. I think Isaiah's going to win it out, though. Avonte Maddox is your nickel corner. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship are your safeties. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is what I kind of expected. Going back to what you mentioned earlier about how I kind of had bad taste in my mouth, kind of has PTSD regarding the LB room. I'm going to admit I am getting a little bit more optimistic as it is training camp. That's another thing. It is training camp, but hearing how good that Zach Bond's been doing throughout training camp, and also Devin White, and seeing that like recent interview that Devin White had about how like the Eagles were one of the only teams that really wanted him and took the chance on him, and how he kind of connected with him, saying like, hey, I've had some down years. I had to work my way back. Like, you can do the same. I believe in you as well. I mean, just hearing about what they've been able to do within training camp and how fast and versatile they've been, it's given me a little bit more confidence in that LB room, especially with how Vic Fangio is running that defense and really making sure that the details are ironed out. We haven't been hearing a lot of good things about Nakobe Dean as of late. Apparently he looks really good in like run coverage and, breaking down run plays, but he hasn't been looking good as far as like pass coverage and working like the zone. He's just been a little bit tad slow there. So I don't know what Vic Fangio is going to be able to do as far as kind of working him in there. I haven't really heard too much regarding Trotter, but I mean, as far as like the starters go, this is a lot of what I expected. I mean, we kind of expected a battle for the LB spot, but it's looking like Devin White and Zach Bond are kind of running away with at least the starting spots. So obviously they're probably going to rotate in and out, but they're probably going to be looking like the starters. And then, I mean, I agree with you too, as far as like the CB2 spot with Isaiah Rodgers taking it, but they're saying Ringo's looking really good throughout training camp as well. I mean, with Slay possibly having maybe 1-2 more years at max, if as long as Isaiah Rodgers is able to keep up a high level of play, I mean, it could be him and Keely Ringo being our top 2 corners in the future. Who knows?
Quinyon Mitchell is not going to allow you to say that, sir.
We'll see. I mean, he's been looking great as well. Like, especially we heard from Smitty, because I guess Smitty had his first kind of one-on-ones with him, and he was trash talking Smitty, saying about his routes were trash. And it's like, I love it. I love that, because it seems like he's silent any other time, but I just like how like he just gets locked in, and he just tries to get in their head a little bit. I guess he kind of maybe learned that from CJ a little bit.
I'd be a good person to learn that from, for sure. Definitely be a good person. CJ so. Very mild individual. He get injured his shoulder at camp.
Yeah.
But from the reports, it's nothing that will keep him out for a long period of time. So we should be good to go with that.
Hopefully.
Should be any issues. He should be good. They're saying it may even be, may not be that long of a time frame. They haven't given like a specific time frame, but everything is pointing to it being something that's not going to keep him out for an elongated period of time, which kind of makes us all feel better.
Yeah, especially after hearing he had an MRI. If he had an MRI and they saw everything, it must not be that big of a deal. If they would have came out with something, if it was a bigger deal, if he was going to miss the whole rest of training camp or miss maybe a week or 2 of the season.
Yeah. CJ had a guy that the one thing that's been a little concerning is he's gotten beat up a little bit. But at the same time, I mean, he's played well for us. He was on the team the year that we almost won Super Bowl. So he's a guy that we definitely need, even if he misses a couple of weeks. I think we can still weather the storm somewhere throughout the season if he misses a couple of weeks. But definitely want him to be, as healthy as he can be, and helping us to be the best Eagles team that we can be.
Absolutely.
All right, so guys, we're gonna hit a quick commercial break. We're gonna slide back, and we're gonna talk about the last W Philadelphia Eagles got for the season. It was a terrible looking W, but it was a W.
Yeah.
You take away the W, even if you don't like how we got it, which I did. Just a slight preview. Sure, you guys already expected that, but just a slight preview.
Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy, and now begins a future one of matrimony or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network proudly presents The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson, live every weekday morning beginning April 29th at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text delete, 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 delete.
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the Sertoba Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels. Whether it's the men's college game,
the way that this season has been going, yeah, anything is possible.
The women's college game,
And how passionate Angel Reese was at that press conference, they got their mojo now.
The WNBA,
AJ Wilson on Twitter 1 and 2, followed by Brittany Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jackie Young,
or the NBA.
The Lakers had a 0.8 chance of winning. And then what happened in the fourth quarter? LeBron James by himself outdid the Clippers.
You will get any and all of the information right at your fingertips or your earlobes. Join the Playmaker as he breaks down all things basketball in Shooting Lights Out on the Playmakers blog, network, YouTube channel, and where you can find podcasts.
All right, good people, we're back. For those of you who may not be aware, I am in the North Carolina area where we're having, rain and storms and stuff. So if we're a little off or things are a little like patchy or something, it's an interesting time to be here at Charlotte where I'm at, but it's all good. Live shows, things happen. It's a part of the plan. It's a part of the outlook. It's part of what it is. And in the building, old man Mob.
Oh man.
Today. You already know I had to show you guys some love. Hit that like button and share if you haven't already. Absolutely. Also, shout out to 502 Angel Radio, as well as Shady Sports. If you're listening to, watching this anywhere besides easily YouTube channel, please. And we ask that with all seriousness, please. Make sure you hop up on YouTube. Make sure you type in the Eagles Elite Podcast. Make sure you hit that button. When it scrolls down, like as many of the shows as you like, please hit that subscribe button. And then make sure you come back and chill with us next week. Talk trash to us, enjoy us, whatever. That's what we're here for. Eagles fan, we can take a little trash.
Yeah.
And says the great cool and the man, the legend Wyatt. And can't forget Eagles Diva always putting that hard work in. Absolutely, Diva wasn't able to join us tonight, but definitely part of the squiz nod. All right, so Wyatt, I don't think this one's going to take us too long.
Nah.
I don't know if I said this game 33-25. To put it nicely, or honestly, let's do that. We did everything we could to give the Giants a present on Christmas Day. They ended up throwing the present back at us and saying that we don't want it, right? But you have to be better to beat decent teams, not even good teams. What we did in sports shadowing, of course, it was embarrassing. It was a win, but this was not a good game. And rather than getting all the X's and O's, it just wasn't a good game, right? A lot of we did, we let Tyrod Taylor come out and look like a really quarterback. That was disappointing. So many things, just when you say, like, when you look at the game within the game, like the defensive end versus the lineman, those type of things. A lot of those didn't go well for the Philadelphia Eagles in this game. We ended up winning the game, 33-25, but far from a good game. And I think if we were playing anybody but the Giants team with their backup quarterback, we don't win this game.
As you see in the next game we're going to talk about. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much like a game of two halves. I mean, we came out, looked like we were doing well, firing on all cylinders, going across the middle. Jalen Hurts was doing his thing. We were actually running the ball. Defense was doing their thing. But yeah, that second half, for some reason, as soon as Tommy DeVito went out, when Tyrod Taylor had to come in, seemed like he was just balling. The middle of the field was wide open for him. We had that terrible turnover where it looked like Dallas Goedert tripped, which caused the pick six and they ended up getting a touchdown on defense. And then Saquon, I believe he ended up getting a touchdown for him. But yeah, it just came down to a nail biter for no reason. This should have been a blowout for the Eagles. This one should have been handed to them. This was a get right game, especially after, a terrible string of games that they had, and they just ended up trying to blow it. They're trying to give the game away to them, like you said, but the Giants are just so bad at that point in time. They're like, nah, you can have this one, fam. You have it. Yeah, this was all around terrible. Even though it was a win, it felt like a loss, especially against a team this bad.
It was a loss in my mind, everything but a score. We came on and we talked about that after the game. You feel like searching for the episode, feel free to go watch it, because I will tell you this. And we were very fired up. We were very unhappy. And unfortunately, we were right. We were very right. Sometimes you don't want to be right. But you're right. The only other thing I can really say about this game is this game was proof that I feel like coaching was a big issue. I feel like we go into halftime, they have halftime. Their coordinators attempt to make some corrections and everything with that one. So I'll just leave that there. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, but I don't even want to talk about this game anymore, even though it was a win, because like I said, it was a loss everywhere but on the scoreboard, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, with everything coming out regarding some more behind the scenes of what was happening during the season, it makes perfect sense why it all went down the way it did.
It makes perfect sense, but not in a good way.
Yeah, not in a good way either.
Not in a good way at all. But it does make perfect sense. Sometimes you just get disappointed by the lack of it almost feels like care the organization has.
Yeah. I mean, it was like exactly what the report said. Like, even through the first 10 weeks of the season, when they were 11 weeks of the season, where they were 10-1, everybody was walking around the facility with their heads down. Like they just lost a string of games or something. Like people were still upset about the Super Bowl 11 weeks into the next season. Mm-hmm. Like you cannot have that kind of mentality. And it just seemed like that just was, what happened because of the discourse within the organization and discourse between the coaches and the players. And it was just a perfect storm of terribleness.
And not to mention, on top of everything else, you're out there trying Jalen Hurts around and not just say, okay, well, with Hurts, we're going to use you more in the pocket. Still want him to run, do all these things. We know he's not 100%. So,
and running an offense he didn't believe in.
Yeah. A lot of tomfoolery happened last year. Take us another break, guys. We're going to hop back in. Top 100. That's what we're going to talk about next. Let's go.
Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I got to rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. You want your Commanders to be repped right? Well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report. Every Tuesday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern, 10:05 a.m. Central on the Sotoba Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where my soldiers? Right side. Commanders. Where my soldiers? Left side. Commanders.
Join Ryan McCarthy.
I became a Jets fan because Kurt the Frog was my favorite Muppet because he was green, and the Jets wore green. That's how I became a Jets fan.
And Dustin Henry.
ESPN is cashing all in on let's pay a few personalities and we'll just kind of fill in the gaps.
As they walk you through all of the world of sports from their perspective.
The Albany Empire, it's a literal circus.
No credentials required. Where, Ryan, say the tag.
Where you don't need a press pass to talk sports.
Live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central on YouTube and where you can find podcasts. Rams fans all around the world.
It's a beautiful thing to be a Rams fan right now. Stafford's back. We will see about Cup. And running back Kerryon Williams to return.
Lend me your ears, or should I say lend Playmaker your ears, as he breaks down week by week everything in the Los Angeles Rams canon.
Number 99, Aaron Donald. Can't wait for 2029 to come to know that you are going in the Hall of Fame, and it should be first ballot, no questions asked.
Join the Playmaker as he breaks down everything Los Angeles Rams style in Ramily Talk on the Playmakers Blog Network YouTube channel and where you can find podcasts.
All right, good people. We are back in the building. So the next thing, of course, we'll be talking about is our top 100. So we're just going to go through the list here and then just kind of give you guys our thoughts on the groups of 10 here. So we'll start, of course, with 100 and move that way. So at 100, we have Zaire Franklin, the Indianapolis Colts offensive linebacker. He wasn't ranked last year. At number 99, we have Levante David, Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive linebacker. He was also not ranked last year. Number 98, we have Cameron Hayward, defensive tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He dropped 53 spots. Well, he dropped from 53 last year to 98 this year.
Jeez.
Excuse me, not 53 spots, but quite a few spots.
Yeah.
Like 45 spots. So big drop for him. Number 97, Terry McLaurin. He dropped 3 spots as well. Well, he dropped 3 spots. Hayward did drop 53 spots. Sorry about that. I'm going back and forth, tripping because of the way it's being projected to. Number 96, Deion Dawkins, offensive tackle, Buffalo Bills. He wasn't ranked last year. 95, Julian Love. He wasn't ranked last year, safety for the Seattle Seahawks. So a lot of people dropped out. Trevor Lawrence, he's up 2 spots from last year to 94. Of course, he's the QB for Jacksonville Jaguars. Harrison Smith, Minnesota Vikings free safety. He's up to 93, up 4 spots last year. Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets QB, he's 92, down 41 spots from last year. Of course, most of that's due to the injury. And then Tariq Woolen, he's number 91. He's down 15 spots from last year. Cornerback for the Seattle Seahawks. Your thoughts on that 10 right there, man?
I mean, they all sound decent. I just wouldn't like. Why is Aaron Rodgers on this list? Like as of right now, he didn't play at all last year. Why is he in the top 100? He played 4 plays.
And should Trevor Lawrence have even moved up? What did he do last year to really move up?
True. Facts.
I
We've
mean,
had a
he was the
conversation
same
about
guy.
him before.
Yeah, didn't win a division, didn't do anything of note. but he moved up a couple of spots. Stagnation. There's nothing wrong with staying in the same space from last year. That's where some people belong.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the call that was made. I do think some of the wide receivers are lower and some are higher than they should be. But
yeah, agreed.
Move on. So at number 90, up 10 spots from last year, Devontae Smith. At number 89, down 16 spots, Buda Baker, safety from the Arizona Cardinals. Of course, Devontae Smith, wide receiver for Philadelphia Eagles. Number 88, Chris Lindstrom, Atlanta Falcons guard, down from last year. 87, Hassan Reddick, New York Jets outside linebacker, down 39 spots from last year. Saquon Barkley, number 86, Philadelphia Eagles, down 55 spots from last year.
Jeez.
Big drop. Tristan Wirfs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive tackle, up 13 spots to 85. DK Metcalf, Seattle Seahawks wide receiver, 84 this year, not last year. We're going to talk about the end, but I have to pause right here. So I look and see DK Metcalf at 84, not ranked last year. And I say, how in all that is holy is DK Metcalf not in the top 100 last year?
Facts. Dude should be in every year.
That's wild. At 83, down 53 spots, Derwin James, the free safety from the Los Angeles Chargers. There's a lot of guys that took some massive drops. Montez Sweat from the Chicago Bears, their defensive end, formerly of the Washington Commanders, went from unranked to 82. Kirk Cousins, the Atlanta Falcons QB, went down 39 spots to 81. Obviously due to injury. He got injured. But, that's the next 10. So already we've had, 3 QBs. I think a couple of wide receivers in this group that should be higher. And a running back who really got slapped in the face for switching to a team where he should play better. But on this group here, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Saquon, I definitely think should be higher, mainly because he was the focal point of the Giants' offense last year. He was it, and he was doing what he needed to do, and actually doing it well behind a terrible O-line. I'm all be biased. I think Devontae Smith should be higher. I mean, dude had over 1,000 yards. Easily could be a wide receiver 1 on any of these teams out here in the NFL. So I mean, I'm not gonna say he should be in the top 50 or anything, but he should be a little higher than 90. But I mean, Hassan Reddick makes sense why he's down around this far, because the drop off he had last season and everything. He did get hot at a certain point, but he started off pretty slow. But I mean, a lot of these other ones do make sense, other than like what you mentioned, like DK Metcalf. Like, even though he's at 84, he wasn't ranked last year. He could probably be up there a little higher too, as well. And I have no comment on Kirk Cousins.
What do we always say? The white Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper said it, not me. Number 80, Sam Laporta, the Lions tight end. He wasn't ranked last year. 79, Minka Fitzpatrick, free safety for the Steelers. He dropped 61 spots.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he got, for being a Pro Bowler, he still dropped that big spots. That's crazy. 78, not ranked last year, Kyron Williams, running back from the Rams. 77, down 2 spots, Trey Hendrickson, the Cincinnati Bengals defensive end. It's nice to see a defensive player on Cincinnati on the list. Okay. Up 3 spots to 76, Dre Greenlaw from the San Francisco 49ers linebacker. Number 75, Justin Herbert, down 43 spots, Los Angeles Chargers quarterback. Number 74, not ranked last year, Jesse Bates, safety from the Atlanta Falcons. I don't understand how Bates wasn't ranked. I just don't.
Yeah, that's another one.
That's another one.
Surprising.
He not be at all. I think maybe his year wasn't great, but he still was good enough. These are the players making these calls. I'm just gonna say that. Number 73, down 15 spots, Jeffrey Simmons, defensive tackle from the Tennessee Titans, up 2 spots. Garrett Wilson to 72. There is no way on God's green earth that this man should not be higher when he had ball thrown to him by guys like Sam Darnold last year and still had an excellent season.
Zach Wilson.
No, I said Sam. Yeah,
Sam Darnold. Yeah.
I put them in the same category in my mind, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I can understand how it could be confused.
Yeah, I view him pretty much about the same. One's just older. But yeah, Zach Wilson, the punter himself. At 71, up 14 spots, Houston Texans offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil. Your thoughts on that group, sir?
I mean, I think most of them make a lot of sense. Yeah, Micah Fitzpatrick is probably the big question mark there. Like, why is he so low? I mean, he's definitely been a huge name over how many years now. I mean, even though Pittsburgh did have some struggles last year, he did play really well.
Yeah, that's shocking that he dropped that much, honestly. That's kind of shocking. All right, so number 70, Cleveland Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper, not ranked last year. At 69, down 22 spots. Cooper Kupp, Los Angeles Rams wide receiver. 68, Danielle Hunter, defensive end for the Houston Texans. He wasn't ranked last year. Teron Armstead, up 16 spots to 67. Miami Dolphins offensive tackle. Brandon Ayuk at 66. Wasn't ranked last year. San Francisco 49ers wide receiver. At 65, down 8 spots, Jordan Poyer, the Miami Dolphins free safety. At number 64, Patrick Green, Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker of the Ravens last year. He wasn't ranked. Now he's 64. Jalen Waddle down 19 spots to 63, Miami Dolphins wide receiver. Another Miami Dolphins player, Bradley Chubb, the Miami Dolphins linebacker. At 62, he wasn't ranked last year. And at 61, Justin Matabuki, the Baltimore Ravens defensive tackle. I'm so glad that I saw a show where they were talking about the Ravens yesterday. Because if not, that went well. Your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these make sense to me, at least. Maybe Brandon Ayuk, maybe a tad higher, just be off of what you know how much I hate the 49ers, but, you know, I respect the game. I mean, I like him more than Debo. So, I mean, I would definitely rank Brandon Ayuk a little higher. I know that he's involved with a lot of trade, you know, stuff going on right now, but I mean, I think he's going to show up and show out wherever he goes. I think he's a very talented wide receiver. Jordan Poyer, was he on the Bills last year? Jordan Poyer, or am I thinking of a different player? Yeah, he was on the Bills last year. Yeah, I thought he was hurt for a while. It's surprising to see him this high, but hey, I mean, it makes sense. Whenever he's healthy, he's really good out there. Cooper Kupp was also another player that was banged up for most of the season as well, so it's interesting to see him up that high. But I mean, it's Cooper Kupp though. I mean, it doesn't matter if he's coming off an injury or not; he's still going to be Cooper Kupp. And I mean, Amari Cooper, he kind of had a resurgence last year as well with the Browns. He did really well.
Yeah, with several quarterbacks.
Yeah, which is not easy to do.
Not at all. So we're going to stop after this next grouping here, and we'll finish out the other half next week. But at number 60 to 51, starts to get a little more juicy. At number 60, we have Raheem Mostert, running back, Miami Dolphins, so another Dolphin. A lot of Dolphins right here in this group.
In the 60s.
You know, been through the last in this right here. 59 up 3 spots, Bobby Wagner, now with the Washington Commanders middle linebacker. At number 58, up 23 spots, Kristen Wilkins, defensive tackle, now of the Las Vegas Raiders, but he was with the Dolphins last year. Number 57, 2 spots, Justin Simmons, free safety. He has not found a team as of yet with the Broncos last year.
Which is crazy. You have a guy in the top 100 who's not even signed in training camp as of yet.
almost top 50.
Yeah. I mean, I saw he had a
Maybe
visit with
one-
the Saints today, but
maybe
I don't
one
think
wonder.
nothing came out of it.
You know, maybe like I'll wait till cancel.
Yeah.
Number 56 down 40 spots. Houston, Texas wide receiver Stephon Diggs. I'm not even surprised by that. At number 55, down one spot, Brian Burns, now of the New York Giants. I gotta say, Brian Burns, I feel bad for Brian Burns. He went from the Panthers to a little bit better version of the Panthers.
Yeah. Just a lateral move.
You know, a little bit. Number 54, Jonathan Allen of the Washington Commanders defensive end, down 2 spots from last year. Up 15 spots, the first Arlington football team player, aka Dallas Cowboy, guard Zach Martin. Down 3 spots to number 52, Pat Surtain II, Denver Broncos cornerback. And at 51, a man that does not stay healthy until almost top 50. Mind-blowing. Absolutely
Keenan Allen.
That's Keenan Allen. He was not ranked last year. He was 51. Mind-blowing. Your thoughts on this grouping here, sir?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does make sense. I mean, Stephon Diggs, you can make an argument for him being like sliding down this far or being up a little bit more. I could completely understand why he is down this far. Justin Simmons, he was one of the few bright spots on the Broncos team last year, so that makes sense why he is up here. Same with Keenan Allen in a way. I mean, even though he can't stay healthy with all the injuries they had last year with the Chargers and Herbert being out, he was able to still go out there and try to help them try to secure some wins or at least put some points on the board. I mean, Zach Martin, I feel like he's always going to be in one of these. As much as I hate the Cowboys, Zach Martin's always going to be in the top 100 as far as like being an offensive guard. He's a talented player, man. A lot of these other ones just make sense though. I mean, Jonathan Allen, he's been balling over the past couple of years.
Yeah, we got a few quarterbacks in this early part, but it's going to be interesting where the rest of the quarterbacks lay. I mean, I know you guys already know per se, but you know, we're just going through this other 50. It's going to be very interesting. So, want to hear us continue to talk about your top 100? Make sure that you are locked in and loaded with your boys next week. We'll finish that other 50, talk about all that goodness. All right, so we're going to hit you with the last commercial break. And then when we return, we're going to end on a sour note, but it's not my fault, like James Snitsky said. You know? I'll even quote Vince McMahon. I didn't screw the Philadelphia Eagles. And I didn't screw us having to talk about this game against the Cardinals. The Philadelphia Eagles screwed the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids from the Block, New Edition, dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Cool McCain.
You thought you wanted to go through against Chad Gable, but you didn't. And I'm going to tell you why. Chad Gable would take everything that Gunther's done and bury it.
The Playmaker.
It was on site. AJ Styles walked out there, seen LA Knight. Oh, okay. Then LA Knight hopped out the car. Let's go.
Break down everything in TNA, AEW, and all of the WWE programming. Join these two kings, monarchs of wrestling, live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Central on the Play Caller Sports Talk YouTube channel. Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer. Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel.
Before we continue, I just want to say one thing. I am so happy that after next week, I can permanently take this season review and be done with it. It's just so bad. Decided to do 2 at a time, so we didn't have to talk about the season. Real talk. Let you behind the curtain. Hey, if we talk about 2 games a week, we can put off talking about this and talk about the positive things. We get this ended before the season starts. We can do what we need to do. All right. Wyatt, I'm gonna let you start this because I don't have anything positive to say about this game. You may have some positives because, sir, you are good at finding some positives.
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I'm gonna say is for anybody who's been watching the show currently tonight, you can, for my thoughts on this game, you can just go back and watch our thoughts on the last game with the Giants, because it's about the same damn thing. It's the tale of 2 halves. We came out, ended up scoring, a touchdown in the first, 2 in the second, and then we weren't able to do anything until the 4th, and we were just letting Kyler Murray run all over us, pass all over us in the middle of the field. It just shows you the glaring mistakes that's been happening all season long with no adjustments, whereas they just weren't able to keep a lead, and you saw that through a lot of this season whenever they were able to even get a lead. But more specifically, these past 2 games where they were up multiple touchdowns on a team, they just don't know how to keep a lead. They don't know how to just run the ball, keep the ball safe, and just either just run the ball to kind of take the clock out, or just keep, your foot on the gas, keep putting up more points. It's exactly what we were able to do during that Super Bowl season in damn near every game. We were able to get up and then just keep that lead, whether we were just running out the clock or putting more points on the board. We didn't have that in our identity at all whatsoever last year for some reason or another. I mean, there was turnovers in this game, but I mean, we weren't really passing the ball that well. Jalen Hurts had 167 yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. As far as like running, DeAndre Swift had 13 carries. He was our lead rusher for 61 yards. Weren't able to do too much. They did do a trick play with Kenny Gainwell throwing the ball. He had 17 yards. I mean, it's just a lot of the same stuff. And I mean, it came down to almost damn near the last play of the game where we lost this. And it was just, I would say it's heartbreaking, but whenever you expect this outcome, even with being up as many points as we were, just watching the rest of the season, it just makes you a little bit more dead inside going into the last couple of games and then eventually into the playoffs. I know you kind of look for me to find some of these positives, but there really wasn't many. I mean, other than us being able to get a lead up early, but then you kind of diminish all of that by just not being able to do anything offensively through the second half. And then your defense doesn't know how to adjust, because that's exactly what happens. We're able to come out and put some points on the board, and then maybe come second quarter, come halftime, the other team is able to figure out exactly what we're doing, because they saw what we've been doing on tape all year long. It's like, oh, so they didn't adjust. They didn't do anything different. We can just attack them a different way and take everything they were trying to do away from them. And that was the tale of the whole season, especially this game here. And it was just no adjustments made on any part, going from the Giants game into this game, and just from the first half into the second half in this. I have no clue what the coaching staff was even thinking. This was just another game that we shouldn't have lost, period. This should have been a blowout, just like the Giants.
I mean, passing yards. Kyler Murray, 25 of 31, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Jalen Hurts, 18-23, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Touchdowns and interceptions, you match the toddler. You know how I feel about the toddler. James Conner, 26 carries, 128 yards, a touchdown. DeAndre Swift, 15 carries, 61 yards. Greg Dortch. Do we even know who Greg Dortch is?
Who?
7 receptions, 82 yards. A.J. Brown, 4 receptions, 53 yards. How many receptions can you have if your quarterback only completes 18 passes?
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot. I mean, Michael Carter had 61 yards running the ball. Shoot, Trey McBride, who I don't even know who that is, had 6 yards.
It's embarrassing.
I don't understand. I truly don't understand. How in the world do we go out here and let these type of teams beat us? Sidney Brown did have an interception. That's probably the best part of this game for the Philadelphia Eagles.
That was the pick six, right?
Yeah. I just fail to understand why we do this. I don't understand how a team that has talent just was that bad. But it was. It is what it is. There's nothing that can be said or done about it. I mean, all I can really say is we got to be better, y'all. We got to be better. Like execution-wise, confidence-wise, relaying players didn't know where to be, all kinds of things. It was just so much just ridiculousness. And then like Wyatt said in the last game, going back and knowing what we know now afterwards, it pisses you off even more.
And what was it? Was it the Giants game or this game where was it Britton Covey ran into, was it Zacchaeus, or he ran into somebody and fumbled the ball on a return. He got the return and then ran into another player and fumbled.
I think that was the second Giants.
I think
game?
it was. Yeah. I thought it was this one we just talked about. I thought it was one of these two.
I think it was the second. It might have been the first. I'm pretty sure it was one of the Giants. But yeah, just that type of thing, man. Just we never could turn around. We were never going to turn it around, which is unfortunate. Yeah. But the situation that we were placed in, kudos to the guys for doing what they could, playing as hard as they could. You know, just attempting to be the best version they could be. Based on the situation they were in. I mean, I know we didn't get a lot of guys, but I don't think they were prepped to be able to really give us any more. We just have to be better this year. We're going to talk about these other 2 horrible games. Then we can put this behind us and we can start talking about only moving forward and what we should be doing, and what we will be doing. But, I mean, I need more from the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't even want to have to talk about these, but we did.
Yeah, I'm ready to flush this season and just never talk about it ever again. Just sweep it under the rug.
I'm about to be like the players. Let's talk about this season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
What we talking about last season for?
Right. All right, Wyatt, any other thoughts or anything before we done for the year?
Man, just the training camp is setting in, seeing videos from the live practice and, throughout all these practices over the past week or so, getting hype. I know it's just training camp, but we got the preseason game. Even though we may not even see much of the starters, I'm still excited to see the Birds back out on the field.
Green jerseys on the field is always a plus. I'm just going to tell you the same things I always tell you every week. Make sure you tell 4 of your friends, 4 people who may not like you so much. Make sure you're also subscribed yourself. Come check us out. Just because they don't like you doesn't mean they won't like us. And furthermore, on top of that, and also, it's never where you start, my good people. It's always where you finish. Anything for the night. Hey, but the Eagles are going to have a much better season than last year. I believe. I know why it's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable. Benny Boom. You're going to see, my boy. You're going to see. All right, guys. With that being said, hashtag be elite. Hashtag fly Eagles fly.
Fly Eagles fly.
We'll see y'all.
Go Birds.